And welcome back to part 4 of What If Neji Had Killed Hinata? Last time in Naruto What If, Naruto had successfully brought Sasuke back. He then would later go on for his training, 3 years training, and that's where we're catching up. Now, someone did bring up Sasuke's mentality, and it's a fair question to actually bring up because I think there's some legitimate arguments for made for this. Now, I kind of went with the idea that Sasuke kind of got brought back down to earth. A little bit, to a certain degree. He's now under extreme watch and surveillance, certainly, for the time being, because he did abandon the village for Orochimaru. But he realized that Naruto beat him, even with all his power gain. Naruto still beat him. And the only thing he had going for him was the Nine-Tail. Other than that, was all Naruto's abilities, just straight abilities. So I kind of went with that assumption. But someone did bring up the whole concept of, no, this would just make Sasuke even more embittered and to go after Orochimaru if he got the chance, because, he's still not strong enough. He's still, and it makes him resent the leaf and all that even more. And there's a legitimate argument for that. I mean, I'm not personally going with that myself. At least not that straight version. I think there might have been some times during the 3 years where Sasuke maybe considered it, but he was under so much surveillance since then that he just couldn't, and Kakashi decided to truly take him under his wing and just help him out from there. And I think that ultimately helped Sasuke out and kept him in the village more effectively. It cemented him staying in the village, I felt, because he was able to get a lot from Kakashi that he wasn't even going to get from Orochimaru. We have no idea ultimately what Orochimaru actually taught him overall. We know he strengthened his physical abilities with drugs and all that enhancement. We know that. He got the snake summoning. Great. So, woo. Taught him more about taught him swordsmanship. Woo. Taught him to control his curse mark. Woo. We can assume that the Kirin, all that stuff. Honestly, we can assume Sasuke kind of just taught himself. We know he learned the Kirin on his own. Maybe Orochimaru didn't teach him anything about the set, like Chidori Senbon or anything like that, as far as we can tell. So really, in the end, what did Orochimaru actually teach him, except probably just better combat and stuff like that? Anyway, I digress though. So that is what we'll be going here, is that he stayed in the village. Now, real quickly, what has Naruto and Sakura picked up during this time? Let's actually start with Sakura first, because this is very interesting. I don't think she went to train with Tsunade in this one. The reason she went to train with Tsunade is because she didn't want to be a burden on her team anymore. She didn't want to be a burden on Naruto anymore, and she wanted to get stronger. But Naruto brought Sasuke back. He brought her back, or he brought him back. So is Sakura just so happy probably that, and maybe she's trying to get stronger, but she just doesn't feel like she's useless now. Maybe there's that. I mean, there's again an argument because he did knock her out and all that, and she couldn't stop him, that maybe she feels useless and tries to train with Tsunade. But I think maybe if she goes to her this time, Tsunade just rejects her. They're like, no. Because she just doesn't have that look in her eye of a medic. So she still spends time training, but Sakura here is just not a very strong ninja. She's much weaker than she is in this version. Granted, she does mature a bit, doesn't fangirl as much over Sasuke. I think one of the things she could pick up with is some genjutsu. I think that's the big thing she maybe focuses on. Goes to Kurenai for lessons, really starts to pick up on it a bit. And so that's kind of where her specialty ends up lying. Sasuke still figures out the Kirin, all that stuff. He's got plenty of jutsu thanks to Kakashi. Naruto. So Naruto, because he now has Winjutsu and Rasengan down, I think over the next 3 years is when he gets the Wind Rasengan and Rasen Shuriken. I think that's when he develops those techniques. He learns more Winjutsu as well, I'd imagine. And I would like to believe the Jiraiya maybe like in the last year or 6 months does bring him to Mount Miyabuku to learn Sage. I do think that is probably likely. He goes and tries to learn how to control the Fox Chakra. It doesn't go that great. Of course, only get to the 3-tail form. But I think he does ultimately end up getting Sage Mode. Now, does Naruto perfect it the first time around? No, but I think it's just like Jiraiya. He struggles with it at first. This is due to the fact he doesn't have the motivation, Jiraiya being dead, so it does take longer. However, we do know he ultimately did gain a Perfect Sage. And I think Jiraiya seeing this also is encouraged to gain Perfect Sage as well. So with that said, we cut now to the present where they arrive back at the village. Naruto's like, "Oh, late from the village, I'm back. Naruto. It's like, hey, Kono, Sakura, you're looking great. Oh, you changed so much. It's like, what about me? Do I look more womanly? It's like, yeah. Naruto still like, yeah, I haven't changed a bit. Oh, you idiot. Hey, Konohamaru, that whole interaction goes the same. And he goes, sees Tsunade, hands Kakashi the book. They end up meeting Sasuke afterwards. I see, it looks like you did stick around after all. Well, this village, no, you guys aren't totally useless. I figured I could get something out of it. Well, you better hope it's enough to take me on. I've learned a lot more since we last met. Same can be said, right back at you, dweeb. And, Sakura's just like, come on, guys, let's not fight, please. What? We're just saying hello? Yeah, what's going on? And so Naruto and the gang ultimately get their bell test again. This time, though, there's no depression about saying Sasuke's name. I'm not going to go into... I've learned now not to really... Especially when we know the bell test ends up being the same. They win. I don't go into the specifics of the bell test anymore because there's just no point in it. So we'll just skip to after them winning. Gar is obviously kidnapped. Tamari, they meet up Tamari real quick and poke at Shikamaru and her for being on a date. So we honestly cut over to the Gar retrieval arc now. The Team 7 is tasked with going up. They go out. They meet up. Chio. Basically, it's all the same up until Itachi. Now, so little brother, you didn't leave after all. Itachi, his Sharingan's blazing at this point. Naruto, I'm not here for you, little brother. You said that last time too. Then all of a sudden he pulls out his blade and it's just cracking with lightning chakra. It's like, but it's not going to go the same way this time. Indeed, but I am Naruto. I could cast it with just this. Company. I can't use Mangekyo right now. But I don't need it. I don't need it, really. I could cast Genjutsu even with this finger if I wanted to. To which Naruto and gang quickly realized, because Sasuke got a Sharingan, I was like, that's not going to work. I already know you're casting a Genjutsu. Yes, but on which one of you? And then all of them just, I was like, I see, you really have grown, Naruto. And then Naruto all of a sudden goes into Sage Mode, and Itachi sees the eyes like, it can't be. Did he learn... And all of a sudden, Clone just appears behind him. When did he? And then, Sasuke goes, got you! Poof! Skewers Naruto, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. Oh, God, the phantom memories. The pain. But then it's revealed, basically, that Itachi's fake. So they get there. They get to, where Gar's being held. Team Guy, basically. Their Team Guy does the thing they do. They release the seals. And now they have to deal with Deidara and Sasuke. And, not Sasuke, Sasori. Now, this, however, does go more similar to what it did in the original, where Naruto is still very much just, gives Naruto back! And just heads off after Naruto! And he's just beelining for him. He's got his Fox Chakra kind of like coursing through him. But he's also got Sage Mode going, too. It's like, you don't worry. It's like, I know, Naruto, we're not going to lose him. Trust me, we won't. I can keep track of the Chakra with Sage Mode. It's like, Sage Mode, I see. And then give me some time. And then he prepares to Kamui. It goes about the same, except Naruto is also able to use Wind Style to just catch Deidara off guard as well. Cut the wings off. And then Kakashi's able to actually Kamui him right where he's about to land. So it's basically one of those things where you don't aim for your opponent. You're aiming for where your opponent's going to be. So you're just tracking your opponent. So instead of just tracking your opponent, you see them moving and then you go boom, like that. So what Kakashi basically did is he waited for where Deidara was going to be. And basically he Kamui'd him right there. Just, and now his arm's gone. And basically now his entire midsection kind of gone. Just, and he just can't even, because he's got no heart. He's just dead. So yeah, Deidara's dead. And Naruto's like, Gar, Gar's not doing well. So they ultimately, he starts to freak out a little bit, but, Kakashi puts the seal on him and he's all good. Meanwhile, back at the other plot, Sasuke, Sakura, and Chio are busy doing what they can against Sasori. Sakura, yeah. Sakura, Sasuke, and Chio against Sasori. Jeez, wordy. And really, it's again, Sasuke's doing a lot of heavy lifting. He's definitely getting the help from Chio with the threads. Now, I should note that Sakura probably has picked up a little medical ninjutsu, but unfortunately, I think Kankuro doesn't make it in this one. Now, granted, Kankuro didn't have much of a play except in the Shinobi War, so because Sakura didn't train her Tsunade, she didn't have the medical knowledge to save him, and that unfortunately means that he ends up dying. So they do lose Kankuro in this. But moving back on, Sasuke's lightning is able to counteract the third Kazekage's Iron Sand, given the Jinten and the relation with magnetism. And ultimately, they are able to bring down his puppet, only for him to summon all the 100 of them. Sasuke's cleaving through them. Sakura's doing her best. Ultimately, Chio throws the seal. Sasori is and not in his puppet that gets captured. But Sasuke's Sharingan is able to pick up where the chakra goes, and he is able to basically pinpoint where he is, and just nope, just stabs him dead. And so, he gives out the bait where Orochimaru is going to be, and dies. Chio brings back Gaara. Everything's all well that ends well, except for the fact that Kankuro is dead. And so they go back to the village. So, what happens now? Well, Kakashi is out of commission for the time being. I think they just send a team, because there's no real reason for Team 7 to be going on this particular mission this time. And their side can't be assigned to Team 7, because Sasuke is around. So really, it's actually kind of a lull period right now. They're kind of practicing, keeping their skills up. Naruto runs into Shikamaru and Choji, and runs into Ino, and, Naruto does, see Ino and go, whoa. Because he still remembers the kiss she gave him on the cheek. He's like, it's pretty cute. And Ino sees Naruto. He's kind of matured up a bit. And I think he does get a sage cloak, too. And she sees him, and she's actually got a bless. Whoa, Naruto, grew up fast. Grew up really well. And so Choji's just like, oh, someone's crushing. Are we crushing on Naruto? Ow! It's like, you shut up. Like, hi, Naruto. It's like, hi, Ino. And both have a little blush on their face. So now there's just, lull period right now up until Azuma gets killed. And I imagine this would be one of the times where, Naruto and Sasuke actually decide to have a spar to see who's actually stronger. They start off, Naruto throws out some clones, Sasuke, actually does the same. It's like, I see you picked up as well, yeah, but yeah, I'll give it to you. You can make him a lot more than I can. And they're duking it back and forth. Sasuke throws out fire. Naruto now knows how to use wind jutsu more effectively, so he basically kind of does two gale palms together, just boom, does a concentrated shot, kind of causing the fire to burst. Ultimately, it's like, I want to see who actually wins this time around. It's like, just remember, Ten, you asked for it. And so they clash again. This time, though, they're making sure to actually clash their attacks together, not trying to kill each other. Sakura is watching just to be sure, but it's like, no, they're not trying to kill each other. And they clash. Rasengan versus Chidori. Sasuke's Chidori is overpowering Naruto's base Rasengan by a bit, but then Naruto just like, I gotta admit, you can beat my standard Rasengan, but can you beat this? And all of a sudden, the Rasengan starts to get bigger. It's like, what the? Boom! Just blast Sasuke. It's like, oh, sorry about that. I didn't think that would hurt them much. So what was that? It's a new Rasengan. I call it the Great Ball Rasengan. It's just a big Rasengan. Trust me, I didn't want to use the superpowered stuff against you. Wait, what? And Naruto's like, oh, you really didn't think that was my best attack, did you? And so I was like, oh, you bastard, you're still holding back. So the mission with Orochimaru fails miserably. They hear that the team they sent was killed. And it's like, bastard. So now we're in a bit of an interesting pickle. Where do we go from here? Well, Azuma's been killed, and Naruto is perfectly capable of going along with them. So basically, I think Team 7 acts as backup to Team 10 here. Team 10 tries their best. Kakuzu is about to beat the crap out of them. But Team 7, not including Kakashi, who accompanied Team 10, actually, steps in right at the right moment. So Naruto basically comes in and is like, I got this. Besides, I get to show off a little bit. Goes into Sage mode, then creates the clone, because he still needs a clone for this. He can do these Rasengans with most Rasengans with one hand now. And he creates the Rasen Shuriken, and they clash. They're about to clash, but then Naruto just throws it at him. It's like, and then it expands, and it catches him and just basically shreds him to death. As we saw, we saw what happens when it hit, but we also saw what happened when a Sage-enhanced version of Rasen Shuriken hit a pain path. It just shredded him to nothing. So basically they beat Kakuzu. Hidan's taken care of. Everyone thanks, Team 10 thanks Team 7 for their help. Kind of thanks Naruto again and kind of gives him a kiss on the cheek again. She's like, oh. It's like, and even Sakura's like, what? It's like, and Sasuke's like, when did that start happening? It's like, well, I was just thanking him. Like, well, I thank you for your thanks. He says that. Oh, God, that sounded so stupid. And got in the last thing. It did a little bit. And so, again, downtime. Now we're in a very weird spot. Orochimaru is still very much alive. He needs a body. And there's not really any suitable candidates there. So what's he do? I often argue if he has no other choice, he takes Suigetsu's body. He's still there. He's still being held. And I don't think they have really anyone else there at the time. Without Sasuke, they would have prepared, I'm sure, just in this case. So maybe he does have a strong candidate for someone else. But I always like the idea of him taking Suigetsu. So he takes Suigetsu. And he goes, it's like, it seems the Akatsuki are dwindling down. It's time for us to make our play. And so him and Kabuto go off. And they go off with these Akatsuki cloaks. Obviously, Orochimaru probably still kept his old one. And he could probably make another one. It's not that big a deal. Who do you think they get to tailor those things? It's clearly they have to make those. So, as Sasuke is busy just at the clan compound, just thinking at night, a crow comes, issues the challenge to Sasuke. I still think, though, he goes out on his own. This isn't a version where he's completely with the village, unlike some others where he's like got a girlfriend and stuff like that. No, this Sasuke is still like, I've grown strong enough to take him on. I do still think he leaves a message for Naruto just in case for backup. So when that happens, the Sasuke retrieval team comes. The new Team 8, sadly, has Scion, I believe, because they needed the other member. Now, I could have done the whole, Kurumu? Her name isn't Kurama, is it? She's like a genjutsu user, like a serious genjutsu user, can almost manipulate reality with genjutsu from a clan in the filler. But as far as we know, she's not canon, and I'm not taking filler stuff and putting it into canon. Just like I don't do that with Dragon Ball Z. So for the person who can suggest that, please stop doing that. Unless the filler gets added into the what if, as the topic of the what if, I'm not going to be doing that. So just, you can stop barking at that door, please. But yeah, I think that's where Sai ends up. And this is Sai's first time meeting Naruto. And the guy's like, you don't seem very strong. Are you a girl by chance? And Naruto's like, what the hell's your problem? I was like, what? And so they go off. Obito stalls. He does. Sasuke doesn't. Karin and Yugo are still stuck at that compound. Meanwhile, as this is all going on, Orochimaru has shown up at the door of Pain and the Rain Village, and he's like, I come bearing gifts. It's like, and so Konan shows him to Pain. It's like, it's been a long time, Leader Sama. Leader Sama, you don't get to call me that anymore, Orochimaru. In fact, you don't get to have the right to be calling me anything. I should kill you right now for your betrayal of us. But the fact is, you came willingly, so I'll hear you out. You've lost many of forces to these Konoha nin. Why? You're in desperate need, and I can offer you much for that. It's like, and what would you ask for return? Only that we bury the hatchet. After all, your pursuit of me does cause a bit of a hindrance for my work. In exchange, I'll offer you my services, so long as my only condition is that I ultimately get Sasuke in the end. Itachi's strength and his illness would not be a benefit to me. To which Naruto's like, so you're aware of Itachi's condition, are you? Only me, Konan, and Kasami were made aware of it. And Toby, of course, but that's a different circumstance. Indeed. So, do we have an agreement? He just thinks that your proposition is adequate. Is acceptable. And so holds up the hands like, very good. Meanwhile, the fight with Itachi and Sasuke goes pretty much the same. He's still got the curse mark, though he doesn't use it as much. And, he does go into using the curse mark when he has to. And ultimately, he gives, Itachi drops dead. Forgive me, Sasuke. And so he's like, I won! And he just passes out and says, Sasuke won. It's quite a match. I'll look forward to watching it later. So he basically goes and collects Sasuke. Sasuke is now kidnapped by Obito. And he goes, gives the information about Itachi and the village. Now, this is also something that's very different. Because Nagato Pain would let Obito know what's going on, because Obito went to Nagato prior and asked about, to get the Nine Tails, or retrieve the Nine Tails. So that's what Pain would be doing. But this would also be during the whole Jiraiya going to the Rain Village thing. So did Jiraiya encounter Orochimaru? No, I don't believe he did. I think the Orochimaru thing was very, very much before the Jiraiya thing, and then he left the village before Jiraiya came in. Jiraiya also having perfect sage mode means I think he takes out one extra path of Pain, but I still don't think he lives. So the real one isn't there, and sends off Fukasu to go tell the village. And then Pain is sent off, but Pain also lets know that there's a condition. You have Sasuke. Sasuke is the condition for this. The condition. He'll be given over to Orochimaru. I see. I'm afraid I can't allow that, Nagato. And Pain, I told you not to call me that. I am Pain. Of course you are. No, of course you are. How foolish of me. But still, I have plans for Sasuke that I cannot allow you to interfere with. Very well, then. I suppose you'll have to take it up with Orochimaru yourself, then. I suppose I will, then, won't I? And he disappears. Just collect the Nine Tails. And so the mission to get the Nine Tails is underway. The Invasion of Pain arc is coming. I feel like that is where we're going to stop this What If. You'll notice I'm kind of speeding through a lot of it, and that's because really a lot of it's just going the same with minor alterations. That's all there is. And honestly, I'm wondering if we're going to be able to get through the final part next episode. I feel that we might be able to be doing that. We're going to be doing that with the Dragon Ball one on Saturday. I'm wondering if we're going to finish out this one on Wednesday. I really am. If not, it's got only 2 episodes left beyond. This is probably the quickest Naruto continuing series I've done. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know the review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you folks later. I actually have a few more videos I might do today, or I might save for tomorrow. They were for yesterday, but because I just forgot to check, they were birthday requests. But don't worry, I'm not forgetting them. I will get to them. They're just going to be a few days late. So sorry about that. Sorry for forgetting that. I apologize. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.